It is time now to talk all things current California politics. We're joined this week by Rich Ehisen. He's the editor-in-chief of Capital Weekly publication. Rich, this whole redistricting thing, it's like Common Core math. It seems simple, but it's not. So you have what's going on in Texas, okay? Then you have California and other potential states trying to match that by redistricting. Yeah. Because of what Texas Republicans are doing, it does have a direct effect on California Republicans, specifically a Kevin Kiley, a Doug LaMalfa. What do our California Republican legislators think then about what's going on in Texas? It could absolutely get them out of work.
Well, it's interesting because in recent weeks, Doug LaMalfa was having town halls where he was getting booed, he was being called a liar, I mean, really angry people there. His response was, then they can vote me out. I'll go back to being a farmer, right? And if you know Doug at all, which I do a little bit, that's on brand for him. Kevin Kiley, on the other hand, talked about introducing legislation that would ban all states from doing mid-century or mid-decade redistricting. Interestingly enough, our Paul Mitchell at Capital Weekly noted that, well, he's not lobbying the White House directly. He's not going to Mike Johnson, House Speaker, directly. So maybe this is just a media thing. I mean, it's hard to know. But yeah, he's probably going to lose his position if this redistricting gets approved by voters because it's going to make his district very blue. Going to not be good for him. I'm a little confused by his actions, to be honest with you.
Okay, so help me understand. Nationally, people are looking at California and yelling at California Democrats for doing what Texas is doing. They're saying in California that this state counts people who are not fully citizened, and that's what's causing Texas. So where is the truth in all this?
Well, that's nonsense, first of all. Okay. Let's start there. That's utter nonsense. I mean, the census is always intended to count everybody. That is so the government can fully account for all of the services and all the things that it needs to do. And that's the reason we've always counted everybody regardless of anything else. This whole thing has nothing to do with any of that. This is Donald Trump knowing that they're probably going to have a very rough 2026 midterms and wanting to try to game the system in any way he can, the same way he tried to find 14,000 votes in Georgia. Anyone who says other than that is being very disingenuous.
So whatever goes on in Texas, and let's say it goes through in Texas, you have California matches, then maybe 4 or 5 other Democratic states jump in, then you have maybe 3 or 4 other Republican states jump in. So is everything just a giant wash, or who gains an advantage in the long run?
Well, the numbers I've seen probably favor Republicans, depending on which states do or don't get in, right? I think the thing that it's very difficult depending on state to state what their individual laws are. Here in California, because we have a redistricting commission, it's a little more challenging than it is in Texas because they don't have the system we have. So they can do that with a simple vote. We can't. We have to put it before voters. And so I don't know how all the other states play out either. I think there's 26 states with redistricting commissions. I'd have to look at that.
This could be fully out of control.
It could be fully out of control. It's really kind of a chaotic situation.
Here's the other thing. So Governor Newsom is pushing for the special election. You mentioned, I think, polls that show Californians are not in favor of redrawing them. What if Governor Newsom pushes this, it goes to a vote in November, and loses in California? Where does that leave him?
Well, I think in a way he wins either way.
Really?
And because, I think he did so much damage to his brand when he did this podcast and started having people like Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk on. Republicans didn't buy it. They thought he was pandering. His base didn't buy it. They thought, oh my God, why are you bringing these people on? If you'll notice, he's backed off having these really far-right Republicans.
Yes, he's going, they're not, I was told specifically, they're not doing the controversial podcast with Charlie. That's not going to happen.
Absolutely. And so what he is basically doing is a rebrand on the fly as the guy who now is going to be the most vocal Democrat who fights against Trump, which all the polls show with the Dems that is what they want. They want someone who will stand up to Trump. And so now he's taking that mantle on.
Yeah. My mom's 95, lives in Rhode Island. She tell the governor he should run for president. I'm like, Mom, he's got a few things to work on here in the state before we get to that point.
Absolutely.
Rich Eisen, thank you. Rich Eisen, editor-in-chief, Capital Weekly publication.